Hello and welcome to another YouTube episode. I'm Gabrielle Celeste, and I'm super excited because today I wanted to talk about the different ways in which you can use astrology. And this is actually something that I end up setting out as a newsletter uh, about annually. And I wanted to go ahead and do a YouTube video so it would just be a little bit more longer lasting, if you will. But these are all ways that I've discovered over the last 5 years or so of practicing astrology that there are different ways in which you can use the tool, the art, the science to your advantage. And we're going to go over how to do that and how to use it to its full advantage. So, I do have an upcoming blog post that will coincide with this specific video channel, so make sure to check that out. I'll link that below for Starseed Strategy. And another thing that I really wanted to go ahead and share is all the other links that you can find in my bio for readings with me, for consultations, for the YouTube channel that I have that features the podcast with my sisters. And yeah, so let's just get into it. So, some of the ways, there are so many different ways and different reasons as to why you would maybe want to use astrology. The first one is your natal chart reading. So, the natal birth chart includes every area of life that you could possibly think of. And the transit components or transit reading, I like to divide them up. It's going to give you an idea of what's happening in the near future, whether it's a day, a week, a month, months, years, times, decades time. But I suggest taking a look within 3 months to maybe 12-month period to have an idea of how the transits are going to affect you. And because the natal chart includes all areas of life, you can really get specific and narrow it down as to how the planets are going to affect you specifically, which is the whole purpose of understanding your birth chart and also understanding the transit component as well. In addition to that, there's another one that I actually came up on maybe about a year or so into practicing astrology that I think is really cool, and that's an auspicious date reading. And you'll see that within both Western and Eastern types of astrology. So, Chinese astrology, they have what's called achieve and receive days. I like to narrow it down to auspicious dates on the Placid sides of things. So, for example, which is the type of astrology that I study. So, for that auspicious date reading, it's basically like narrowing down best times to either get married, best times to maybe start a business, best times to have surgery, best times to purchase a vehicle. It's quite literally anything that you're trying to do or if you want to do. Again, it's kind of like the natal chart. It's anything that you like want to understand in a key point of life or a key area of life, and then just kind of narrowing down to when you want to do it. That's when an auspicious date reading is going to come into effect. And there's a couple of different factors in which you can look into. It could be, of course, what's going on in your own birth chart, but then in addition to that, it is where the moon's going to be at, what the planets are doing. Are they in afflicted signs? Are they, in detriment? Are they in fall? Are they exalted? So the auspicious dates reading is really going to provide the best insight as to when it's ideal for you to take advantage of how the sky is or what's going on in the sky and making it work for you. The next one is business chart readings. Business chart readings have to be some of my favorite type of readings because it really supports the idea and the notion, the fact that anything can have a chart, whether it's a human or an event or a business. And a business chart reading, it's based on a couple different factors depending on who you ask. It could be anywhere based off of, when you licensed your business, for example, or you made money, or you decided today was going to be the start of said business. So it really just depends on, I guess, which factor you're including and what type of astrologer you're going to ask because it's kind of, it's not as concrete as maybe a natal birth chart reading would be or a natal chart would be. And so business chart readings are really fun because when you understand elements of business astrology, you get an idea of what type of client you're going to have, best ways to make money, innovative ideas that you might want to incorporate into your business, and so forth. So, business chart readings are fun if you are just trying to make the most out of the energy that is working through you in the vessel that is your business, and you as pretty much like the caretaker of it, if you will. The next one is a solar return chart reading, and solar return charts are so fun for me as well, and I do them quite often. So, natal chart readings, they're going to follow you for the entirety of your life, whereas solar chart readings, what they'll do is it's one of those okay, so it's kind of one of those charts where depending on where you're at that point for your birth year, the location's really gonna it's gonna have a lot of effect on the energy of the chart that you have for that lap around the sun. So the planets are going to be where they're going to be, but what is an important factor of the solar return chart reading is working with how the planets are going to affect you specifically depending on what houses they fall into for your solar return chart. And the solar return chart, the main purpose of it is to kind of understand the energies that you're working with for that next lap around the sun. Perfection years, it's a technique where you can Google it. Perfection years are going to give you an idea of like what the main focus slash house will be in your life for that time, for that one specific year in those 12 months. And that's why, that's the point. That's the point of perfection. Whereas the solar return chart, that's still going to be valid, but you can work with the solar return chart energy depending. And the way that you do that is deciding which location will be best for you to be at for that year. So the way that you work with the solar return chart is perfection year is still going to be a thing and the planets are going to be where they're going to be at. But with the solar return chart, it's really location based that's going to affect the types of energies that you're really working with for that next lap around the sun. Then we have synastry chart readings, and synastry chart readings, they are when you put together your birth chart with another person's birth chart. They're popular when it comes to relationships, but oftentimes you can do it for two friends, a parent and a child. You can do it for yourself and a boss, but it can really just be the energy of two charts together. And it could also actually be the energy of, like, say it's your chart and then the energy of like a business's chart. So putting those two and combining them and seeing how they do or don't flow. And they're fun. And you can get really woo woo with these because they'll give you insight into past life energy, compatibility, potential relationship energy in general. And solo synastry chart readings are insightful when you're really just trying to understand the potential balance between two energies, whether or not they're human, if they're businesses and the owner of the business's chart, if they're friends, parent and child, and so forth. So astrocartography is the final type of reading you can use that I'm going to talk about in this video. And it's a type of reading where you can understand and identify, say, the cities, states, countries that are most supportive to you for either living, for conducting business, for getting married, and so forth. And this application of astrology isn't as well known as maybe it should be, but it is so supportive and can be utilized, especially if you're making big decisions depending on like where you're wanting to move to or even travel to or visit for specific reasons. So I hope you enjoyed this quick video on the different ways in which you can use astrology. And if you're interested in any of these types of readings, I'll make sure to link all that information below. Check that out. And I can't wait for the next one. See you then.